peuple de Dieu for the French. I mean, the world people design religious group. In the Bible, the Hebrew Bible, is but not the modern connotation. You understand me? Then why Jewish people? There is other reason why to use the word Jewish people. This deep belief that the Jewish came from the same origin. They came from where? From Palestine, no? 2,000 years ago, the Romans expelled the Jewish from Palestine. And they started to wander in the world, you know, create a diaspora, arriving to Moscow, making a U-turn, return to their land in Palestine, Israel. This is the, you know, the kind of way that I studied history from the beginning till the last year. 10 years ago, I believed that the Jew, me, as a Jew, I'm a descendant of these people that were exiled 2,000 years ago. Everybody in Israel believed it, and I think also here, people more or less thinking that the Jews were exiled 2,000 years ago, no? And this has more or less, not a pure race, but more or less they are from the same, you know, ethnos, okay? I started to write the book after thinking about concept from the beginning. I think that the Jewish have not exactly the same origin, and I didn't understand why I have to continue to use the word Jewish people. And I thought that Jewishness is a religion, first of all, a very important religion in the Western world. When I started to speak with my students about it, it wasn't so simple. But we are a Jewish people. How come? The first basic in the 19th century to create a Jewish people, the first basic was the Bible. I noticed that the first part of the 19th century, Jewish first historians in the modernity in the 19th century consider Jew as religious community. Only in the second round of the 19th century appeared the first historians to use Jewish people in a modern sense. It means the question when the Jewish people was invented, it's a long time ago, 140 years. It's a long time, no? 140 years that the Jewish people was invented. By the way, the French people, it was 200. The German people is 250. But it's not bad, 230, 240 years that the Jewish people exist as a concept. Now, in the modernity, to create nations, intellectuals invented to the past people. Understand? To invent a French nation, it was necessary, to create a French nation, it was necessary to invent a French people till the beginning of the time, till de Gaulle or till Clovis. For 100 years, little Frenchmen studied that they are the right descendant of the Gauls. Nos ancêtres les Gaulois was the first sentence in a lot of books, history books in the schools. Nos ancêtres les Gaulois, notre ancestor les Gaulois. Jews started to write the history of the Jew from the Bible. My first chapter, after the theoretical chapter, is dealing the way that these intellectuals of the national intellectuals of the second half of the 19th century took the Bible as a basic to tell the history of the Jew as a people. And it was a new thing to do. You have to know that the Bible, that is not a book, it's a library, was not read by Jew. Everybody believes that the Bible is the book of the Jews, no? more or less. The first testament, not the second one. But do you know the Jewish in their yeshivas, in their rabbinic schools, didn't study the Bible. They didn't read the Bible. Jewish didn't read the Bible. They have no the right to read the Bible. Who read the Bible before the modern times? It was a very, very important Jewish sect that the name was Karaite. You know what is Karaite? Karaite. I think that in English we're saying Karaite, no? Karaitis. Karaitis is a very important Jewish sect. I don't know if to call it Jewish sect, monotheistic sect in Jerusalem, very, very strong. And they read the Bible as the first book of their identity. The second group that read the Bible before modernity was, well, who? Huh? Protestant. They jumped on the Bible as the beginning of their religion, because they are the really children of Israel, you know, the Protestant. You know it. I believe that there are people here, really children of Israel, from Protestant origin, no? I don't see very clear, but I believe. I don't know how to define somebody that is a real Protestant. And even a Jew, I don't arrive to identify it immediately. Now, the Protestant were the second group that read seriously the Bible, and the third one was the Zionists. In the second half of the 19th century, at least from the end of this century, Zionists started to read the book not as a theological book, but as a historical book. You see, all my education passed in Israel. When I was 7 years old, I studied the Bible in a secular school, not in a religious school. I studied the Bible as what? As a history. History of my people, the Jewish people. You can imagine it, from 7 years old till the degree of the high school in the end, in 18, everybody in Israel is studying every week. Before the English language, before mathematics, before history, it is the Bible. By the way, in last year, they decided to start it in the first class, to be sure. The people will know that they belong to the Jewish people. A month ago, I read that they thinking to put the Bible in the kindergarten. They don't know to read, but we can read before them who they are. You understand? Very important. Especially in this world that national identity, national culture started to be decomposed. Then it's much more sure to read the Bible to children in the kindergarten. It's not a joke, by the way. They didn't decide yet if to do it in the kindergarten or not, but it's very near to happen. Now, the Bible became the basic of the history of the Jew. In the 90s, more or less 20 years ago, Israeli archaeologist. This is a New York accent. I have an Israeli accent in English. Any archaeologist, okay? Israeli archaeologists, the good Zionists, started to discover that a lot of things in the Bible, most of the things in the Bible, are legend and has not a real historical basic. I will not come in too much, but because if I'm telling all the book, you will not buy it. By the way, you can wait to the paperback, no? Not to. Okay. I used to buy always paperback. No, but I'm sorry that I said it. Anyway, Israeli diggers of the land of Israel discover that the exode, the famous exodus of the Jew, exodus of the Jew, going out from Egypt, didn't happen. The exodus didn't happen. It's terrible, no?